Imagine spending more on a watch than most people spend on a house, and discovering that it was never really meant to belong to you. Patek Philippe expressed this idea in one of the most famous lines in luxury advertising. You never actually own a Patek Philippe. You merely look after it for the next generation. It sounds like a statement about inheritance, but it reveals something deeper about the hierarchy of Patek Philippe ownership. At the beginning, the watch represents success. Higher up, it represents knowledge, access, and rarity. At the very top, ownership becomes responsibility. Money can buy a Patek Philippe on the secondary market. It can buy a vintage watch at auction and, depending on availability, a model from an authorized retailer. But money alone cannot guarantee access to every highly sought-after reference, rare handcraft, or important historical piece. Patek Philippe publishes no official customer hierarchy. Retail availability varies by reference, market, and authorized retailer. There is no public formula guaranteeing that a particular number of purchases will unlock a rare watch. Yet beneath the surface, 7 different owners are buying 7 different things, and only the final one understands why the watch was designed to outlive him. The story began in Geneva in 1839, when Antoine Norbert de Patek and František Čapek established the company that would eventually become Patek Philippe. French watchmaker Adrien Philippe later joined Patek, bringing technical expertise that helped define the manufacturer's future. In 1932, the Stern family acquired the company. It remains family-owned today, giving Patek Philippe an unusual degree of independence in an industry dominated by large luxury groups. That continuity shapes the product. A Patek Philippe is not designed merely to survive a fashion cycle. The company pledges to service, repair, or restore every watch it has produced since 1839. That promise begins with the first archetype, the dreamer. The dreamer may recognize the name long before he understands the watches. He sees Patek Philippe in auction headlines, collector conversations, and images of discreetly wealthy families. To him, Patek Philippe sells aspiration. The dream is different from the fantasy surrounding a bright supercar. A Patek can hide beneath a cuff. Most people may never recognize it. That privacy is part of its appeal. The dreamer is not imagining an object that announces wealth to everyone. He is imagining entry into a world recognized by very few. Eventually, the dream becomes physical. The dreamer becomes the achiever. The achiever purchases a Patek Philippe to mark a significant moment, a business success, marriage, retirement, or the birth of a child. A Calatrava may appeal because of its restraint. A complication may represent technical accomplishment. The reference matters, but the milestone matters more. To the achiever, Patek Philippe sells permanence. Other rewards are consumed. Cars accumulate mileage. Technology becomes obsolete. A mechanical watch can remain connected to the event that justified its purchase. Every time the achiever checks the time, he is reminded of the moment his life changed. But private meaning is not the only motivation. Some owners want recognition. This creates the visible owner. The visible owner gravitates towards the watches that communicate most clearly within luxury culture. Models such as the Nautilus and Aquanaut developed identities far beyond their original roles as elegant sports watches. To the visible owner, Patek Philippe sells status. The signal is selective. A casual observer may see only a steel watch. An informed observer may recognize the shape, reference, and difficulty of obtaining it. That makes the signal more powerful inside the correct room. But recognition has a weakness. When demand concentrates around a small number of famous references, the watch can say more about popularity than knowledge. The owner who wants to understand the manufacturer must move beyond recognition. He becomes the enthusiast. The enthusiast studies complications, movements, finishing, and design history. He understands that a minute repeater can sound the time, a perpetual calendar can account for different month lengths and leap years, and a split-seconds chronograph can measure simultaneous events. He notices hand finishing that may be invisible without magnification. He values the architecture beneath the dial as much as the name printed above it. To the enthusiast, Patek Philippe sells knowledge. A restrained Calatrava can become more interesting than a famous sports model. A rare handcraft using techniques such as enameling, engraving, guilloche, or gem setting can carry forms of expertise that fewer artisans are able to preserve. The visible owner wants the watch people recognize. The enthusiast wants the watch that rewards inspection. But knowledge does not automatically create access. That leads to the relationship client. Highly desired watches cannot be supplied to every interested buyer. Availability depends on production, reference, and the authorized retailer through which the client is purchasing. A relationship client becomes known over time. The retailer may understand his collection, interests, and history. He may purchase across different categories rather than appearing only when a famous sports watch attracts a secondary market premium. There is no universal spending requirement that guarantees a rare Patek Philippe, and different retailers may manage demand differently. That uncertainty is important. If access were determined only by a published price, the process would be purely transactional. Instead, some purchases involve judgment about which client should receive a scarce watch. To the relationship client, Patek Philippe sells access. The phone call matters because it suggests the client was remembered when something uncommon became available. Yet access to a new watch is not the same as understanding rarity. That transformation creates the collector. The collector enters a world in which two visually similar watches can have radically different significance. Reference numbers, dial variations, case material, production period, condition, and provenance all matter. Original components can be more desirable than replacements that appear newer. Patek Philippe's archives contain production information for its watches, and eligible owners can request an extract from the archives documenting recorded details about a timepiece. The collector studies not only what a watch is, but where it has been. To him, Patek Philippe sells rarity. At the extreme end are unique pieces and historically important complications. The Henry Graves Super Complication, completed in 1933 for American banker Henry Graves Jr., combined 24 complications and later sold at auction for approximately $24 million. In 2019, a unique stainless steel Grandmaster chime, created for the Only Watch charity auction, sold for 31 million Swiss francs. These prices were not explained by the quantity of metal. They reflected uniqueness, technical ambition, history, and the impossibility of obtaining another identical object. But rarity alone does not define the highest owner. The collector asks how difficult the watch is to acquire. The custodian asks what will happen after he is gone. This is the final archetype. The custodian understands that a significant watch exists on a timeline longer than a human life. He preserves documents, service records, original components, and family stories. He makes careful decisions about restoration because changing a dial, polishing a case, or replacing a historic part can alter the evidence carried by the watch. Patek Philippe's commitment to servicing every watch made since 1839 reinforces this idea. The relationship is not supposed to end with the original buyer, or even with the original buyer's lifetime. To the custodian, Patek Philippe sells continuity. He may give the watch to a child, but the transfer is greater than the object itself. The scratches can carry memories. An engraving can preserve a date. The movement can continue measuring time for someone who never met the person who first wound it. That is what separates the custodian from the visible owner. The visible owner wants the watch to tell the world something about him. The custodian wants the watch to tell the next owner something about the people who came before. This is the hidden hierarchy of Patek Philippe ownership. For the dreamer, the watch represents aspiration. For the achiever, permanence. For the visible owner, status. For the enthusiast, knowledge. For the relationship client, access. For the collector, rarity. And for the custodian, continuity. The same name appears on every dial, but its meaning changes with the person wearing it. At the bottom, the owner measures success through the watch. At the top, the watch measures something larger than the owner, the passage of a family through time. That is why the most important question is not whether you can afford a Patek Philippe. It is whether you can preserve its story long enough to pass it on. Because you may purchase the watch, you may wear it for decades. You may even place your name beside it. But if Patek Philippe's philosophy is correct, you were never the final owner. You were only the next custodian. Leave your answer in the comments and subscribe to The Uncommon Ledger for more documentaries decoding the hidden hierarchy behind cars, watches, yachts, aircraft, and the objects that exist beyond ordinary luxury.